So I found this on one of the big teacher lesson plan websites, and I just wanted to go through this and see how many red flags you can find in this lesson plan. All right, so suggest a grade level K through 2. They, she, he, easy as ABC, understanding names, pronouns, and gender expression. So the goals are what is to be done, what is to be learned in the class. To help the students share and explore names and pronouns through the discussion of literature and art. To explore the concept of pronouns with students and to embrace differences in the classroom community. To explore the concept of personal expression with students and center difference. And to explore the concept of gender expression with students. A lot of times these objectives seem to sort of repeat themselves because it does look better to have multiple goals than one or two goals. So fun fact, objectives is how we're going to complete the goals. So I'm just going to go over one of them. Students will read a book out loud and discuss its meaning. And then students will create an ABC expressive self-portrait illustration with 2 descriptive sentences about their names and pronouns. And remember, if they use them, not everyone uses a pronoun. Okay, academic standards. So this is a weird one. So participate in collaborative conversations with diverse partners about grade 2 topics and text with peers and adults in small and larger groups. So how is it determined that it's okay to talk about pronouns and gender expression with kindergarteners and second graders? Well, I mean, if you look at the lesson recommendation, there it is right there. Now, who determines that? Well, the people who came up with it, of course. Like, stop asking stupid questions. Okay, so let's see. Okay, educators' notes. Okay, it's natural for young children to notice differences. And so this whole thing is, they're noticing differences. All right, let's teach them about gender expression. So one of the learning objectives of this lesson is for children to accept and embrace the many ways people may choose to express who they are through their clothing and hairstyles, free of gender norms. Hope you noticed that one. This lesson also provides an opportunity to talk about the names and pronouns to help students gain important social skills around respectfully understanding that there are many pronouns that people use. For example, some people use their names instead of using pronouns. So what I find really interesting about this is they already make the link that your expression through your clothing and hairstyle is gender expression and it's not personality. Very interesting. So they give 3 vocabulary terms: gender expression. People express themselves in many ways, such as through clothing or hairstyles. Sometimes people think that these things go with certain genders, but really you cannot guess someone's gender or pronouns from how they look. Gender identity, how you feel, girl, boy, both, or neither. Everyone has a gender identity. Gender binary, a way of seeing gender as 2 distinct and opposite groups, girl and boy. This idea does not include all the ways we can have a gender identity and express our gender, like with clothing and hairstyles. Okay, we can skip some of this because I just want to get to the juicy stuff. So ask your students to list pronouns and write them on a piece of chart paper. Make sure they, them is included as a pronoun choice. You will come back to this later. Okay, so this book. Oof, okay. Oh, and then remember that some people may only use name instead of pronoun. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So the book. And this is what the teacher is going to read to the students. So it starts off with, Ari loves to arabesque. They hold their pose with ease. Ask your students what the child name is, what pronouns they use, and what they like to do. And it's really interesting because, many people don't know what that word means. Many adults don't know what that word means. So these kids are going to be like, oh, what does that mean? And then, the whole spamming of A's, alliteration, I forget. But the kids love that. So then after going through that and then, oh, okay, see Ari, they hold their pose, they. Okay, so Ari is a they. Okay, that makes sense. And it's really interesting because you made sure that the kids included they, them as a pronoun. And so the first thing you introduce them is to a they, them. B, Brody is a break dancer. Brody loves to freeze. Ask your students what the child's name is, what pronouns they use. Brody does not use pronouns. See? So the pronoun is just Brody. As you read certain letters, have your students name classmates or raise their hand if the name starts with the same letter. So it's the beginning of making connections. At first, it's very, very surface level, but then it's gonna deepen. Okay, so interesting. They're skipping a few. So D, Diego drums and dances. Tree has all the sounds. What pronoun does Diego use? Wait, what? We're already going into neopronouns. Tree. Did we have tree on our list of pronouns? Ask the students to notice pronouns that were not listed so they can be added to the chart after you finish the book. Oh, so this is, because of respect, because of diversity, identifying as a tree and calling yourself tree or tree self is totally okay because, well, this is the kid's reality. Indigos into insects. Z love the buzzing vibe. Ask your students to name the pronoun on this page. So they're totally going to be confused, but I mean, it makes sense. Z, they don't know what the hell that word means. So they're probably eventually going to gravitate to, that's probably the pronoun. Z, okay. George jams to jazzy tunes. He or they can jive. Ask your students to notice the pronouns for George. So we went from they, them, to tree, to Z, to he or they. Oh, you can have multiple ones and you can change them depending on how you wish, because remember, gender identity can be as simple as changing a hairstyle or changing the way you dress, which is weird because these kids should be, for the most part, dressed in uniform, whatever. And then to sum it up, I mean, there's going to be others, of course, but sky is like a star so bright. All the pronouns are right. Wait, all of them? So sky can be a she, a he, a them, a they, a tree, a duck, a pharaoh. Oh my God. It's like sky has all the hacks. This sky person's really cool because they can be a lot of things at once. What little kid doesn't want to be like a shapeshifter or some kind of like superhero or someone with powers and things like that? Like this is freaking insane. And so after introducing all of these neopronouns and strange things like that, ask your students if someone's gender expression, and remember, they keep on emphasizing the gender expression, how you wear your hair, or how you express the spirit of who you are. Wow. Spirits, we're talking about spirit to second graders, because even what colors you like, even the colors you like is affected by your pronouns. So your pronouns are actually super duper important. So this is something that you should actually start to figure out, because this can determine a lot in your life as we teach this as second graders. Is there one way to be if your pronouns are she? Is there one way to be if your pronouns are he? Can we know someone's pronouns by how they look, or do we need to politely ask? Oh man, you should be throwing red flags at the screen right now, because damn. Okay, so then another thing I don't want to get into, the art project. Okay. So help your students create 2 sentences about themselves. Use examples from the book. Yeah, this book about trees and Z's and stuff. All right. You may want to brainstorm examples on an anchor chart at the front of the class with your students. Have students write their sentences at the bottom of the paper. Okay, so for the kindergarteners, you might just have them write their name and pronoun. What the hell, dude? Like, these kids can barely write, and they already teachers already want to assign them a pronoun. So in the middle of the paper, have students draw a picture of their full body selves. This is really interesting. Educators may want to pre-print. Okay, encourage them to add a lot of details that are special to them. Hairstyles, clothing styles. They keep on going at those two. For example, let students know that if they always wanted to wear a bow tie with rainbow suspenders, they can draw themselves that way. Students can also change their hair to a style that presents their true selves. The fuck does a second grader know about their true selves? They don't even know, like, they just learn how to not poop themselves and pee themselves like a few years before this. And you're asking them to write down what their true selves means, what it is? What the hell? Your true self is something that you're going to discover and rediscover constantly. How many people who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s and older figure out a new facet of themselves in their lives? This is fucking crazy. Oh my goodness. I mean, just look at the targeting. Like, it's like they want you to have rainbow stuff. They want you to associate yourself with pride before you even know the definition of pride. Oh my gosh. And then the kids get to share their artwork and things like that. This is absolutely wild. So So you just introduce a concept that doesn't even make sense to adults. And then you essentially, with art, have kids associate themselves with that. I don't know, at least a half a dozen red flags by me. Definitely every time they kept on mentioning hairstyles and clothing as part of gender expression. But this goes way beyond that. So I'm going to do more of these, and I'm going to include all of the PDFs in my links, because this is something that every parent needs to be aware of. This is something that is happening everywhere. And think about it this way. Why spend a whole bunch of your time that you may not have, on reinventing the wheel, as a lot of people like to call it, with your own lesson plans? Instead, why not just go on a handy dandy website? And a lot of these are free. So what's the problem? All the work is cut out for you. You have all of the sources, you have the PDFs to the books and things like that. So go ahead. You can have institutions do the job of teachers for teachers. Why are we accepting this? Why do we think this is okay to teach? Like, we're teaching neo pronouns to 7-year-olds, to 8-year-olds. This is crazy.